Mr. Webster, now when I take the witness stand, all you have to do is fire the first question at me, and then I'll take over from there with these.
What are those, Lucy?
Every Halo story I could get my hands on about Dr. Phillips and the clinic. When I start reading these things, Superman will look like Jack the Ripper next to you.
Lucy, you can't use these.
Hey, here's one from the fundraiser for the clinic. Kate saw to it that every philanthropist in Kingsley was there.
Yeah, don't you look sharp beside her?
Lucy, did you hear me?
Huh?
You can't use these. Gather them up and put them away.
What?
Lucy, when I asked you to come in here and testify for Dave's character, I didn't mean you had to bring physical evidence. You won't be able to use this stuff. Just get up there on the stand and say whatever comes to your heart.
Oh, no problem. I got that down pat. Just don't expect me to get emotional, okay? Because that's really asking a bit too much.
Fine. Fine. Just put these things away.
Remember, Julia, we can't rush our plan now. A proper courtship takes time.
I am not interested in what is proper, dear husband. And just keep in mind that you are courting the dollar bills that Nancy is getting from this malpractice suit. And not really her.
Well, your jealousy is very flattering, but as I've told you so many times, Nancy can't hold a candle to you. Huh? Maybe when we're cruising the Mediterranean, you'll trust me a little more.
Lori, I'm certain of it. That is the same woman Dan Myers introduced to my father as his wife.
Well, then she's the same woman that Nancy says he's divorcing to marry her. Tell you, it doesn't look like they're having any marital problems to me.
Now, about your relationship with the defendant here. You are a nurse at the Chesterfield Free Clinic where Dr. Phillips is on the staff. Is that correct?
That's right. I'm really the only nurse there. Of course, Owen wears a uniform like I do, but she's
Your
not.
Honor, I must insist that Mr. Webster not give the witness free rein to elaborate every chance she gets.
Are you making an objection, Mr. Lockwood?
I most certainly am.
Then make it in the proper manner.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Miss Figgins, please spare us from any excess descriptions unless we ask you for it.
Hey, Judge, I'm just calling them like I see them. Dave Phillips is the most decent human being between here and heaven. I mean, he hired me on at the clinic.
Lucy, so let's just get back on track here. About your job at the clinic, would you say that Dr. Phillips is a difficult man to work for?
Well, when it comes to duty, he's real no-nonsense. I mean, he doesn't take anything less than thoroughness. Of course, I'm like that, too, a little bit, but...
Well, now, for the jury's sake, would you translate that, please, as a yes or a no?
No. He's not difficult to work for at all.
Even when human error is involved? Lucy, I'm referring to the time when you issued the wrong prescriptions to two different parties. Now, you issued one of them to Dr. Phillips, Dr. David Phillips. The other one was issued to a patient, Dale Phelps.
Yeah, that's right, but I didn't issue them to the wrong people. It's just that the wrong people got the wrong bottle by mistake.
Oh, I see, and that's when Dr. Phillips started taking, by mistake, the sulfasoxazole.
Yeah, that's right.
I refer to Exhibit D.
See, Dr. Phillips should have had the chlorpheniramate for his allergy. It wasn't really my mistake totally. See, what happened is this Dale Phelps got all upset. And he came up and he got the wrong bottle of pills off the counter and he stormed out of the clinic without checking with me.
Based on your medical knowledge, as a registered nurse, would you say that sulfasoxazole is a relatively harmless drug
Oh, no. Mr. Webster, no drug is harmless if it's taken improperly. I mean, anybody can have an allergic reaction to any drug, like drowsiness and dizziness and blurred vision and memory lapse.
Similar to intoxication.
Well, it's similar, but a breath analysis would show up the difference.
So would a urinalysis, wouldn't it? Yeah. Your Honor, I just want to remind the court what we already know, that Dr. Phillips was not sleeping off the effect of alcohol. The urinalysis showed that there wasn't any alcohol in his system at all. What he was doing was reacting to a prescribed drug which he was taking by mistake. That was the sulfasoxazole, which was prescribed for Mr. Dale Phelps.
Court acknowledges that fact, Mr. Webster. Is this your inimitable way of saying you have no more questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor, it's not. I do have a couple more things I want to ask her. Lucy, how did you feel knowing that what you had done had had a negative effect on Dr. Phillips' character? That it in fact, made some people feel like he had reverted to the bottle.
How'd I feel? I felt like hog-tying myself to the ceiling for a week.
How did he react to you and to your mistake? Violently, as has been suggested in this court?
No, not at all. He could have. That man, you know what he did? He thanked me for going to the police and making a statement about the mix-up. That's what I call forgive and forget.
Wish I had a camera. I mean, maybe then I could convince Nancy that this Myers guy doesn't mean everything he says. I mean, she's really fallen for the guy. I know, and the way they're holding hands, I don't think a divorce is imminent. I wonder if he's using her the same way as Nancy. Lori, would you stop looking at them? He's liable to recognize us, especially me to me. Oh, come on, they're not even noticing us. Besides, why would they guess the real reason that we're here anyway? Yeah, really. I mean, they might think it was the same thing as I did, just for a salad and pictures of Scotty. And until we sit down, then I learned this whole thing's a stakeout. And Ben's golden opportunity to get free of this whole malpractice suit. Miriam, I really think Nancy meant it. I think that she'll drop the suit if I can prove that Myers is just taking her for a ride. I don't know, Lori, I don't think so, because you said yourself she really seems stuck on him. It seems to me that just hearing that he's had lunch with his wife is not going to be enough to make Nancy fall out of love.
No, not tonight. I don't think it's a good idea.
Oh, come on. We can drive up to Freeport, get ourselves a little hotel room. Well, since you don't want anyone seeing you coming over to the house anymore.
Well, that's only because I never leave there before sunrise, you know? And we can't risk that right now. I mean, suppose Nancy drove by and saw my car parked outside.
Suppose she came in here right now and saw us here together in public.
Then we just go into our bickering routine, huh?
Dan, I am not in the mood for more theatrics. If you wanted me to keep up that jealous wife routine, then you should have let me know before we came in.
Look, I'm not asking for a slap in the face, or just yet, anyway. No, I mean, we'll save that in case Nancy needs more convincing. But in the meantime, I think a nice little domestic brawl in front of Kingsley's lunchtime crowd would be very convincing, don't you think?
Mr. Sumner, the call you were expecting has come in. Would you like to take it here?
Surely you don't expect me to find a booth somewhere, do you? Give me the phone. Hello, Preston. How was your trip to Kingsley?
So then what happened?
Then what happened? I grabbed a dude like this, right? I said, all right, you dirty rat, this dame's with me, understand? Huh? And I told him to get his mug out of there.
So how come she wound up going out with him instead of you?
Well, I told you. We got together. Down at the huddle. It's a little rendezvous.
Oh, some enchanted evening, I'll tell you. Little, big coffee break at the Greasy Spoon. I bet Vaughn, my man, took her to the country club.
Well, that doesn't matter. You know why? Because our little meeting down there was very special.
Just how special, Davidson?
Sit down. Just sit down, okay? I'm gonna tell you. Special meaning that we shared our emotional scars. I told her I was trying to get over Vicky.
And doing a good job of it from where I sit. Did Courtney also tell you that she's getting over Vaughn?
No, as a matter of fact, she didn't say much about him. Call it telepathy or whatever. I just think we're going through the same chapter in our life. I'm serious, you know what I mean?
Get off of it. Courtney's too smart to fall for a line like that.
That's what you don't understand. It wasn't a line. We were very straight with each other.
Oh, sure you were. And I bet the next chapter in your lives will reveal how your paths are star-crossed.
Come on, Romeo. I knew you would understand.
Listen, you had her over for Thanksgiving. What's next? Christmas, New Year's?
Drink the hot chocolate. The only way I can communicate with you is through your stomach.
Listen, do you want Gary Taylor's famous advice? You're mixing oil and water. Courtney is a carpenter, and carpenters and Davidsons do not mix. Now, carpenters and tailors, that's a different story.
Yes, of course I've talked to Courtney. It seems my fears of co-ed campus are ringing true. I arrived just in time to save her from a possible fortune hunt. I am not overreacting, Preston. Your brother Charles will back me 100%. Now, why don't you come on over here to the restaurant, and I'll fill you in.
Now remember, the objective here is to get Nancy to sign over the settlement in my name, which should be fairly simple once we're married and have a joint account.
And without any delays, I hope. Because once you get your hands on that 1.2 million, I'm going to put my share in a Swiss bank account.
Minus our Mediterranean cruise, I hope.
No. You're going to pay for that, sweetheart. Well, it's the least you can do for the mental anguish I put up with through all of this.
You are delightful, you know. You are an inspiration. I can honestly say that I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for you. To the wife of my life.
The only wife of your life.
You know, it's really kind of funny. Here I am trying to get something on Dan Myers to try to help Nancy, when in the past I've tried to get something on Nancy to try to help somebody else. Yeah. No matter how many hassles I've been through with Aunt Nancy, it just seems like I always end up feeling sorry for her. I mean, it's really amazing, but it's true. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of like with my father and me. For both of them, the only things that they can really count on are success and money and prestige, and that is really a pity. Because for them, they just relate to seeing is believing.
That's it.
What's what?
Seeing is believing. All I have to do is get Nancy to literally see what we've seen about Dan. Hey, waiter.
Okay, Lori, what are you doing? Just watch.
Yes?
Do you think I could have a phone at this table, please?
Certainly. I'll see if the gentleman at table 9's finished with it.
Thank you.
You know what I'm curious about?
I have no idea.
Let's go back to your human error. Dr. Phillips' medication, the mix-up the day before the murder.
Okay, if you want to dwell on it.
I want to dwell on it because I'm still not clear about it. Did you see the defendant take the pills that were given to him by mistake?
No, not exactly. Ione Redlin did, though. She works with me at the clinic.
Ah, I see. Well, in any case, would his taking these pills have set up the side effects that you discussed earlier? Drowsiness, blurred vision, etc.
I didn't say anything about any side effects. I said they were allergic reactions.
Well, I stand corrected, Miss Figgins. Was the dosage strong enough?
That would depend on Dr. Phillips' tolerance. Look, it's like hard liquor. One person can take a snort and get lightheaded, right? The next person's not affected at all.
It's funny you should go back to that analogy. I was thinking along the same lines myself. Here you have the defendant whose tolerance has weakened dramatically to one drug. And then suddenly he's exposed to another drug that causes the same or very similar effects. Namely, incoherent, erratic behavior. No, it's my contention that Dr. David Phillips was drunk in every sense of the word the day before his wife's murder. Don't you agree, Miss Figgins?
Your Honor, I just have to object here. And Mr. Lockwood is doing a very good job of confusing sulfazoxazole with alcohol. I don't think what we need here is another mix-up.
I'm only checking this witness's testimony with the testimony of Sergeant Brubaker, who stated that on the night of the defendant's arrest, he was groggy and incoherent.
I have reminded the court of that fact once today.
Gentlemen, please. If you wish to confer, approach the bench. All right, Mr. Webster, I am going to overrule your objection. Mr. Lockwood stated earlier that he is making a comparison between the two drugs, just as you did. However, Mr. Lockwood, let me warn you, the comparison must remain a clear one if you are to continue.
I have just one more question, Miss Figgins. If David Phillips' physical system wouldn't let him tell the difference between alcohol and that drug, wouldn't that also apply to his mental state? That is, wouldn't he be prone to the same violent behavior under sulfazoxazole as he did in the past under the influence of alcohol?
I object! Objection, Your Honor! I object to this!
Where is she? There's still no answer. Lori, it's probably just as well, because by the time Nancy would get here, Dan and his wife could be gone, and, well, then she would just think it was another practical joke, kind of like that imaginary fire Babs had her running from. Yeah, well, it's no imaginary flame that Dan Myers has started in Nancy. Well, now, look, the waiters just brought their food, so why don't we just go ahead and place our order?
Not yet.
Wait, where are you going?
I'm going to get Nancy. I just know she's in the hotel having lunch. Now I'm going to go check the King's Arms restaurant.
But wait a minute,
No,
you can't.
you just hold down the fort, Miriam. And don't you let that couple out of your sight until I get back, okay?
Lucy put all those articles into the scrapbook for me. She said whenever I get depressed about the trial, I could open that up and see how wonderful I am.
I wonder if she's gonna make one for me. Although she might find it hard to find some heroic articles about me, though.
Well, that one's exclusively for me. So, see, it even has the Phillips name on it.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Hey, you know something? You ought to let Stacy thumb through this. She could use a good boost right now.
Yeah. I haven't seen her today, have you?
No, not since the other night. And she wasn't in any mood for conversation then either.
Yeah, I'm worried about the way she keeps withdrawing into herself more and more.
Yeah. You know, when I was over there, you know what she was doing?
What?
She was reading Alice in Wonderland. Now, I know that's a classic and everything, but I just get the feeling that she wasn't reading it for that, you know?
Yeah.
And then that's when Gil stopped by.
Is he still pressuring her?
Yeah.
I better have another talk with him.
Yeah, I had to have a little talk with him myself. He's got the idea that I'm trying to get something going with Stacy.
Where would he get an idea like that? You haven't been seeing her, have you?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you told me to take her out to dinner.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you to marry her.
Well, Gil's got the idea that we already have. Yeah, he stopped by just as we were leaving. Gave us both a third degree.
When will he realize that he's got to give Stacy time to make up her mind about him?
And make up her mind about herself. Oh, I was just getting the feeling that Stacy is starting to think that there's just nothing to believe in anymore.
Well, keep an eye on her, will you, Russ? I can't check on her as much as I should. I'm counting on you.
Oh, you're calling him Charles already? You must have made quite a hit with my young brother.
Don't you see the seriousness of this situation? You've done nothing but make light of it since you arrived.
Now, Vaughn, don't think you're going to fall off just because you're near the edge. Look, I told you right from the start that Courtney has a mind of her own. Now, I can't keep her locked up at Charles's just because you're beginning to see you might have to fight for her.
Sir, I love her.
Well, that's got nothing to do with dueling for her. You would go that far, wouldn't you, Vaughn?
Courtney has been promised to me.
Remind me to tell you of the time I hunted a Kodiak bear in knee-deep snow. You see, I, too, had been promised a fair shot at close
Preston,
range.
please. Not another one of your tedious parables. Not now.
I guess you just don't get the picture, do you? All right. So, what does the Sumner boy want from me this time?
cooperation. Courtney always listens to you. She rarely listens to anything I say.
Have you ever wondered about that, Vaughn?
So she wants to stay at Kingsley? Fine. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to see her more. That's my plan.
Very strategic.
And I'd like you to start seeing her more also, reminding her that she's to be my wife.
Now listen to me, young man. Your family may be running my business, but that does not put me at your beck and call.
That wasn't an order. A favor. I'm asking you to do it as a favor.
A favor?
Yes, and if you can't see it as that, then we'll look at it as paying a debt. You owe my family at least that much.
Listen, I think you're just being a little too suspicious. I think that's your problem.
Well,
you know?
I think you're afraid, you know? I mean, you just don't want to go with me because you're really afraid that I might be right. Now admit it, Aunt Nancy.
There you are, sir.
No, thank you, thank you. All right, Vaughn. I'll speak to Courtney. But hear me out. I want to know where Courtney stands. She wouldn't be rebelling unless she had good cause.
I understand perfectly well. We both have Courtney's interest in her. Don't we?
Of course.
Good. Then you'll talk to her now.
Well, I'd like to finish my lunch first. Do you mind?
Of course not. Stupid of me. Go right ahead and order.
Thank you.
You know, I never should have told you about Dan and me. I should have just waited until we got married and then just let your mother and you just see how much he really loves me.
Okay, Nancy, come on, let's go. I want you to see for yourself, then you can make your own decision, all right?